Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 ES diesel. This car is registered CE07, can't read it, EVA, there we are, EVA. Mileage of 132,211 currently recorded. The reason we do these videos, by the way, is basically to make sure that if anyone's come to see the car, they get to know of any issues which are on the vehicle before they come. Because like many people, we've been to see cars which can look perfectly good, but unfortunately may have some issues which have not been told about. And this is the classic example of why we do these videos, by the way, because this does have a few issues, and it's priced accordingly. So it's way cheaper than it really should be. In terms of the condition of the car externally, the bodywork's actually very good. The panels look pretty straight and clean. There's not too many marks in there. There are obviously some minor marks. On the front and rear plastic bumpers, you'll see in the photographs there's some sort of localized kind of white repairs have been done, but they could, you know, if you wanted to, you could tidy those up very easily. But externally, actually, it's pretty good. It's obviously mechanically, I'm just going to pull over and let this tractor go by because he's an awful lot bigger than me. So just going through the bits I always do one by one, starting with the engine, which actually starts instantly and settles to smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. These are really good engines, and this is a very good example of one. It's still sweet, there's no whines, there's no smoke coming out the back, there's no sort of rattles or anything from it. It feels like a very tight engine indeed, to be fair to it, and it pulls really well. It always did. It's always a cracking engine. Very undiesel-like as well. Just put your foot down, it revs, but it doesn't get that kind of harsh diesel noise you get from lots of them. Clutch is also good on the car. Bites exactly where it's meant to. Put your foot down, and it pulls without any slip, so it's all in good order there. Gearbox is always brilliant on these things. Really good quality gearbox on them. They're tough, they're reliable, and the gear change is one of the best you'll find on this type of car. It's kind of short and throw. It's got a nice sort of snappy action to it as well. Just going to go past this cyclist. There we go. Make sure we've got plenty of room. Yeah, it's just a really satisfying gearbox to use, and they've generally just shows no wear, and this one doesn't either. So again, all in good order there. Steering on the car, track's nice and straight. There's no vibrations I've noticed at this speed. I haven't gone up to high speeds, but certainly trundling around here, there's no vibrations. Again, it feels nice and tight on the road in terms of the steering. Always a good power steering system. It's one of the last generation, certainly on the diesel ones, they still use it. Hydraulic power steering, it's all the better for it. It's just nicely weighted, makes the car feel nice and confident on the road. Chassis is always comfortable on these. They ride really nicely, they're comfortable cars. So this comes to the first of just a few relatively minor issues. Basically, it's got a long MOT recently done. There are quite a few advisories on it, but again, that's all there for people to see. Basically, over pitted roads, rough surfaces, you can hear a little bit of suspension chatter, particularly from the back end of the car, and it is there. So it's, again, the whole point is just to sort of let people know. So if it's not for you, absolutely fine, we understand, but you know, that's how it is. But driving on smooth roads like now, there's nothing at all. It's silent and smooth. So it's just sort of rougher surfaces where you'll get it. Brakes on the car, I'm just going to make sure no one's directly behind me. Give them a bit of a thump. Yeah, they're very good. So they pull up nicely. There's no pulsing or vibration when you hit the brake pedal either, so they all seem to be in fine fettle. So coming inside the car, which basically apart from a clean, really actually is in pretty good condition in here. No squeaks or rattles. It was just, as you'd expect of a Honda, they are very well built. This one is a rare model to have it's got the EX model sat-nav fitted. That's really sought after, and it works perfectly. There's there's reverse parking camera as well. Again, that works exactly as it should as well. A common on CR-Vs, and don't expect it to work, is the air conditioning. They did have a fairly weak system on them. Even Honda admitted it. They beefed up the next generation one, which is a much better system. In theory, it could just be gassing it, but the reality is, been selling these long enough to know that that's quite often not the case. It can be the fuse if you're really lucky, but more often than not, it's actually the compressors rather, the pumps. You can buy a second-hand one, but new ones are stupidly expensive. The fan and everything works as it should, but that doesn't. Dashboard in front, nice, simple, legible dials. Honda do really nicely. Everything else seems to work, apart from I think one of the parking sensors on the front I noticed wasn't working, but parking sensors in this generation car I'm not going to worry about. So in essence, it drives really very nicely. Just a few minor things there, and they are minor indeed. But as I said, the prices we've advertised it is not negotiable, so please don't call if you're trying to think you can knock some money off it. It's already accounted for.